All right, so I'm going to talk about Raw, SmackDown, NXT, 205, Lucha. Uh, yeah, I'll put Impact in there too. So let's look up Raw results, and I gotta do Hell in a Cell predictions. So, which I'll probably just do in the mix of my Raw results if I remember every match at Hell in a Cell. So Raw kicked off with Strowman, Ziggler, McIntyre. They were cutting a promo talking about "We told you so." Then the Shield comes out, beats up all the heels. Like all the heels, the rest of the heels were outside of the ring, so they beat them up. And then after that, we get Nikki versus Ruby Riot, which Nikki wins. Okay, yeah, that's. And then we get AOP versus some jobbers. AOP wins. And as far as Hell in a Cell predictions go, I'll just do those in the mix of Raw as opposed to doing them all after. So Hell in a Cell matches are the tag title match, Raw tag titles, versus Seth and Dean versus Drew and Ziggler. Seth and Dean could win, but then they'd have all the titles. I don't know if the Shield wants, or I would say the Shield probably wants all the titles. I don't know if Vince wants the Shield to have all the titles. Well, you know what? He probably does because Roman's the leader of the Shield in his eyes. So yeah, so I would say the Shield will probably win. Um, you know what? I'll just do them after. It takes too much time for me to do the Raw results and Hell in a Cell predictions like at the same time. So I'll just do them after. All right. So back to Raw. AOP beat some jobbers. I'm not looking at the camera because I'm looking at my phone. Look the Raw results up on my phone clearly. Triple H talks about his match with The Undertaker. B Team versus Ziggler and McIntyre. Ziggler and McIntyre win, retain the titles. Because of course they would. Think the B Team's going to beat them ever? No. Kevin Owens versus Tyler Breeze. Kevin Owens attacks Tyler Breeze before the match. Just beats him up. And then calls out Bobby Lashley for putting Sami Zayn on the shelf. Injured injured reserve list. That's basically what the shelf is. Chad Gable and Bobby Roode versus the Ascension. Again. Bobby Roode and Chad Gable win. Again. Ronda and Natalia versus Alexa Bliss and Mickey James. Ronda and Natty win because not all the time when Ronda's in the ring she wins, but a majority of the time. You gotta make Ronda look strong going into Hell in a Cell. So then we get Elias coming out singing a song. Mick Foley comes out to interrupt him. We think, oh, Mick Foley's here to hype up the Hell in a Cell with the Undertaker and Triple H. Swerve, bro. Foley's gonna be the special guest referee in the Hell in a Cell match with Roman and Braun. So that's something. That's interesting. Then we get Finn versus Elias. Finn wins. Finn wins with a roll up. Should have won with a coup de grace. Finn shouldn't be getting a surprise roll up win. Then we get Roman and Braun segment at the end. Roman and Braun brawl, and then Roman puts Braun through two tables. Well, not two tables. He put him through one table. And then, yeah, that was the end of Raw. This is Clash of Champions thing. Which Clash of Champions? Oh, that. Anyway, So now let me look up SmackDown results. So Raw was meh, basically. SmackDown, same thing. So we get Jeff versus Shinsuke to kick off the show. Jeff gets DQ'd because Randy Orton comes out and interferes. Oh, and Jeff cut a promo talking about how he's going to beat Randy at Hell in a Cell, which Jeff has wanted to do a Hell in a Cell match for a while. So Jeff is definitely jumping off that cell, regardless of what people want to happen or think that it's not going to. Some people think that it's not going to happen. I'm one of those people that think that it will, because it will. Because that's why Jeff wants to do the match. Jeff wanted to do the match just so he could jump off the cell. Not saying that's a bad thing, because Jeff jumping off the cell is going to make for a cool moment. AJ and Joe cut promos. AJ says that he'll never talk about Samoa Joe's family because, like, obvious that he has one. But, And then, Joe's like, oh, well, I'll talk about your family all I want because because he's Samoa Joe, basically. Charlotte versus Sonya Deville. Charlotte wins, of course, because she's Charlotte. Why would she lose? Other than to Carmella twice, but we don't talk about that. So then Becky attacks Charlotte from the crowd. Sheamus and Cesaro versus Rusev Day. Rusev Day win, and they're number one contenders for the tag titles against the New Day, which the New Day are already booked to fight Sheamus and Cesaro at the Australia Super Show, so I'm guessing the New Day is going to retain at Hell in a Cell. Andrade versus R-Truth. R-Truth coming out there with Carmella. Carmella's a babyface. She was a babyface as of last week, so cool. Andrade wins because Carmella attacking Zelina Vega distracts R-Truth, so Andrade wins. Then we get Brie Bella versus Maurice. Brie wins by DQ because Miz put his hands on Brie, then Daniel Bryan attacked Miz, then Brie attacked Maurice, and they was just basically standing in the ring. Left Miz and Maurice were walking back, and Brie and Bryan were standing in the ring like triumphant. So all right, so 205 Live. First match was Buddy Murphy versus Grand Metalik. Buddy Murphy wins. And then we get some backstage segments. Mustafa Ali and Cedric and Tozawa all talking backstage. Mustafa beats a jobber. Then we get Drew Gulak and Jack Gallagher versus Cedric and Akira Tozawa. Drew Gulak and Jack Gallagher win. So I guess this means that Cedric will probably win whenever they have their title match. Well, Drake Maverick announced a title match for next week. Gulak and Cedric. So that's cool. All right. NXT. First, we get Oni Larkin and Danny Burch versus some Adrian Joud and Cesar Bononi. Burch and Larkin win. Tommaso talks about denying attacking Aleister Black, which I don't know who actually did it. I'm guessing it probably was Tommaso, maybe. Shayna Baszler versus Violet Payne. Shayna Baszler wins, of course, because basically a squash match. Raul Mendoza versus Lars Sullivan. Lars Sullivan wins because why wouldn't he? Nikki Cross versus Bianca Belair. Ended in a double countout. So a flat finish for what was an all right show, solid show. All right, Lucha Underground results. So in this show, Phoenix came back from the dead. Well, Phoenix came back from the dead last week. I didn't talk about last week, but that's what happened last week. So first match was Dragon Azteca Jr. versus Evil East for the Gift of the Gods Championship. This was a good back and forth match. This show, probably the best show of the week, I'll say. Lucha Underground, consistently good. So this match was a good back and forth. Dragon Azteca wins. For the second match, we get King Cuerno versus Mil Muertes. This was ended in a no contest, and Cueto came out and said, "You're both getting a match for the Lucha Underground Championship." So we get a 3-way next week: Pentagon Dark versus King Cuerno versus Mil Muertes. Third match, we get the Reptile Tribe, Cobra Moon, Jeremiah Snake, aka Sammy Callahan, and Daga, and versus Phoenix, Drago, and Aerostar. Phoenix just came back from the dead, so he's like out of time, basically. Like he's a time distortion. It was basically when Prince Puma came back from the dead and turned heel. That's basically what Phoenix is doing. Prince Puma, aka Ricochet, of course. And your winners, the Reptile Tribe, still Trios champions. And Marty the Moth after the show comes into Cueto's office, gives him money so he can get a Gift of the Gods Championship match. But he throws in more money and says he wants something else. And then that's where the show goes off the air. All right. So Impact starts with Austin Aries, Killer Cross, and Moose coming out there. Austin Aries basically cutting a heel promo talking about how he's beating everybody. And then KM and Fallah Bahh come out. Austin Aries is like, I'm going to offer you something, Fallah Bahh. I'm giving you a shot at the world title. And I'm thinking, well, Fallah Bahh's going to lose. Duh. So then we get the Lucha Bros versus Cult of Lee. Lucha Bros win. Lucha Bros is Phoenix and Pentagon, of course. Then we get Joe Hendry, his music video talking about how he denied Katrina. And then, so basically, when we get that, Katrina and Alicia Edwards are standing in the ring, like waiting to fight or whatever. So, yeah. And then Alicia gets a roll up win over Katrina because she's all distracted because, the Grado and Joe Hendry stuff. Then we get LAX versus some jobbers named the Fraternity, Channing Decker and Trent Gibson. I have no idea who those guys are. LAX wins because, of course, they do. Then we get Congo Kong versus Brian Cage. Brian Cage wins and says that he accepts OVE's challenge. So it's going to be OVE versus Pentagon, Phoenix, and Brian Cage, which will be good. And then we get Johnny Mundo, Johnny Impact, talking on Skype, talking about how he'll be back and he's gonna take the championship from Austin Aries at Bound for Glory. Then we get Fallah Bahh versus Austin Aries. Austin Aries wins, and then they Moose and Killer Cross attack KM with some chairs, and Fallah Bahh's like laid out in the ring. So basically, they took out KM just like they took out everybody else. So that was Hell in a Cell. That was everything other than the matches for Hell in a Cell. All right, so Roman versus Braun. Roman's gonna win because Roman's not losing that title on his first defense. That's all I'll say. Uh, it is freaking Mick Foley gonna do anything like bump wise? No. Is he gonna screw over Roman? Probably not. AJ versus Joe. AJ will probably win because they're having a match at the Australia Super Show anyway. Charlotte versus Becky. Charlotte's not losing on her first defense, her first pay-per-view defense, because her first defense was against Carmella and she won that, obviously. And then Ronda. Oh well, Becky said she's gonna break Charlotte's arm, so I guess that could still happen. But Charlotte's gonna retain. Charlotte's probably gonna retain. Like I could guarantee, I would be shocked if Charlotte quit or got pinned in the match just because her arm's broken. Ronda versus Alexa. Ronda's not losing that title till WrestleMania probably. So every match Ronda's in for a title or a title match was Ronda all the way. Jeff versus Randy. Randy will probably win because Jeff's gonna do a swanton off the top of the cell, and then Randy's gonna throw him in the ring and RKO him probably. Brie and Brian versus Miz and Maurice. Brie and Brian will probably win. Brie probably tapping out Maurice just so Daniel Bryan doesn't get his win because WWE doesn't want Miz's loss to Daniel Bryan to come from a mixed tag match. They want it to be like significant, like a number one contender for the WWE Championship or for the WWE Championship itself. So then we get Drew and Ziggler versus Jonathan Ambrose. I already talked about this. If Vince wants the Shield to have all the titles, then the Shield are going to win. And if Vince wants them to hold off, then they'll hold off. New Day versus Rusev Day. New Day. And as far as the kickoff matches, there haven't been any announced. And there's a whole bunch of people left off the show. Shinsuke, Balor, Asuka, Sasha, Bayley, Kevin, Bobby Lashley, Elias, the Usos. I don't know how they don't have anything for Bobby Lashley. They definitely should think of something. Just saying. Anyway, that's everything. So, see you guys.